y'all. So, welcome, and I'm glad you're tuning in again. It's almost time for me to make dinner, but I thought I'd jump on and do a quick video with you guys. I am going to be telling my story, which was my husband's idea. He said, tell your whole blind story, so it's not going to take that long, but I figured I'd tell it while I'm doing laundry. And as a wife and mom, you all know that your job never ends, so I figured, why not kill two birds with one stone? So here we go. Oh, and if you guys didn't know, my name is Sheila. I had bad vision my whole life. I don't remember much about my childhood growing up. My mom and my sisters have told me a lot of how it was whenever I was younger. Very bad vision, thick glasses, thicker than Coke bottle glasses. So I don't remember much of that, but they tell stories of me running into things, running into glass doors that are closed, playing hide and seek with me, and they could just stand right out in the open and I wouldn't see them. Run into things and say, oh, excuse me, thinking it was people, that type of stuff. I do remember when I was about 8, I was in school, and it was like all of a sudden I was seeing red in my eye, like looking through a red balloon. So I told the nurse called my mom. My mom left work, came and picked me up. She took me. I don't remember all of it, but I do remember going to a hospital. I don't remember what was said. I don't remember all of that. I have been told that basically it boiled down to that the doctor thought I was just trying to get attention, that there was nothing wrong with me, yada yada yada. So my mom didn't know any better, so she was like, okay, trying to get attention. So several months went by, and there was a doctor in town that was giving away glasses for children families that couldn't afford to get their own. So I was picked through the school as one of those children. So my mom took me into this doctor's appointment. The doctor was looking in my eyes, and the doctor asked my mom some questions. I do remember some of this, not all of it, but I remember some of it. My mom told me more of the story later, but I do remember some of it. I don't do socks. My husband does the socks because I can't mate them. That's one thing that I can't do. It drives me nuts. So the doctor looks in my eyes, and he asks my mom some questions and then says, can you come out here with me? Well, apparently he asked who the doctor was, where we went, da 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 da. He gets on the phone with that doctor, and he started yelling and screaming on the phone to this doctor because both of my retinas were detached. He was not happy. So that was the start of my blindness. So he got us hooked up with the Texas Retina Association. I hope I'm saying that the right way. I don't remember the name of it. I know that it's in Dallas, and those doctors and nurses were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't ever remember, well, there was one time that I remember that I was not happy with them, but I'll get to that. I don't remember a time that I was never not happy with them. They answered all of my parents' questions. Nothing but good things to say about them. So Christmas morning of 1992 was my very first eye surgery. Like I said, they were never able to save my left eye, which is now a prosthesis, but they were able to save my right eye. So I ended up being just a one-eyed person for the rest of my life. I had glaucoma, cataracts, blood vessels bursting in my eye, having to have surgeries to go in and fix that. You pretty much name it, I had it. It was bad. But thanks to those doctors in Dallas, I was able to keep what vision that I had. I was able to drive. I was able to have kids. I was able to run a household. And everything was great. Up until about 5 years ago. I was working. I finally found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, which was banking. Loved it. Still love it to this day. Wished I could still be doing it. I was working at Liberty National Bank, and there was something going on. I can't exactly remember what the issue was, but there was something going on, and so I called my eye doctor here in town. Not gonna say the name. Everybody that knows me knows the name of the eye doctor's office. They could have caught it. They could have sent me to the specialist and had something done with it. Because you think that eye doctors, anyway, that's another story. But they put me on some kind of, I think it was allergy drops that they put me on. I was having issues. It started getting worse. I went back to that eye doctor. Hold on, bear with me, guys. Okay, sorry about that. It said low battery, so I had to plug my phone in. I heard it, but I have it turned down real low, but I know what it talks about. I know what it sounds like. So anyways, I started doing the drops that they gave me, and it was just getting worse, so I called them back, and I went back in, and she said, well, I can go ahead and send you to the specialist, but I don't see anything wrong. So they sent me to the specialist in Oklahoma City, and mind you, I was having trouble at work, and it was showing. I was messing up slips, I was messing up stuff, and I was getting wrote up. They were saying I was doing a bad job at work. I mean, it was bad. And you could see it in my attitude too. It just wasn't good. So I go to the specialist in the city, and it's my retina specialist that she sent me back to. So I go to my retina specialist, which I probably should have called them in the first place, but I wasn't thinking. You know, you think the eye doctors are just gonna do the right thing. So we go to I think I need to back up. Let me back up. So I go to the eye doctor. They put me on some medicine, some drops, thinking allergy drops or whatever. I wake up one morning and I cannot see at all. I get up to go to the bathroom and I cannot see at all. It's all black. And I am freaking out. I call my husband. I can't even remember how I called him at this point. I call him, and I don't know what was going on that day, but I couldn't get a hold of my father-in-law, my mom, my sister. I don't even remember what was going on. So at the time, my 13-year-old ended up driving me back to that eye doctor to go see that eye doctor because everything was just black. And we get there, she couldn't figure out why I couldn't see anything, and that's when she says, let's go ahead and send you into the retina specialist. Okay, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So we get that appointment set up, and my 13, and okay, so our house was not very far from the eye doctor that I went to. So it's not like my son was driving through this big huge town. It was maybe 2 or 3 blocks from our house, so it wasn't anything big that he had to do. But yes, he drove me to the doctor's office that morning. And I think it was about a day and a half later, whenever I was able to get back into the eye doctor's office, and my husband was working out of town at this time. I did not know this, and I was trying to find someone to take me to this doctor's appointment, and apparently, as soon as I called my husband and told him this, he dropped everything from where he was, and he was home like that. So him, both my sons, we all went in for this appointment. The retina specialist couldn't find anything. Couldn't see why I wasn't They thought it was a floater that was in the way. Maybe that was what was causing it, and said, let's give it a month and see what happens, see if your vision comes back. So fast forward to a month, my vision doesn't come back. So we go to this appointment, and by now I had lost my job. So I wasn't working. My husband had gone back on the road, my boys were taking care of me, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were helping out big time. Actually, I think we went and stayed with my in-laws while we were trying to figure all of this out. So, because I think that's what we did. I think we went and stayed with my in-laws so my husband could go back to work, and we waited the month, So fast forward, we go to the retina specialist's office, and the floater had moved, so that was not the issue. So the retina specialist decides to send me to the glaucoma specialist to see if maybe he could figure something out. So we go right on over. We didn't even leave. He sends us straight on over there. So we go over there, we go into his office, and both the boys are with us, and I sit down in his chair. Of course, they dilate, they do the whole thing, everything. Sit down in his chair, he looks in my eye. He didn't even look in my eye for a second, and he pulls back and he said, I am so sorry to tell you this, but your optic nerve is 98% damaged. I couldn't help it, but I started crying right then. And it got so quiet in that office. None of us knew what to say. We couldn't really think of questions. We asked the questions that we could think of at the time. Now, my husband did come up with a few questions, because that's my husband. He always has questions. But there's nothing that you can do for optic nerves at all. Nothing that you can do for it. So that's when we got the diagnosis that there was nothing you could do. I was blind, and we just had to go from there. So we walked out, and all of us, it's like just the wind was just sucked out of all of us. I made the phone calls that I needed to make. I called my job and told them where I officially was, I couldn't work. Nothing I could do. That was when I started, my depression just was done. My husband quit his over-the-road job. Luckily, he had a friend that helped him get a job in Oklahoma City, which was still an hour and 15 minutes away from us. I don't even remember how we survived it. I really don't. It was during the summer, so we moved, we ended up being back at home. The boys were taking care of me. I didn't get out of bed for 4 months. I cried all the time. And I have to say that it was the worst thing I had ever gone through or ever had to deal with. So it was just rough. It was horrible. I snapped at everybody. I didn't know. You know, people would ask me, well, what can we do? Well, I don't know what you can do. I don't know what to say. And I shut myself away. I didn't know what to do. I felt bad for my husband. I felt bad for my kids. But most of all, I felt bad for myself. Yes, I was being selfish. And I said and did things. I said and did things that I don't even remember saying and doing, but apparently I did. And it was bad. So, the day after I received my diagnosis, we had got up. I was sitting on the porch. My husband comes outside and says, Justin, you need to tell your mom what you just told me. And I thought, okay. Justin comes out and he says, Mom, out of my right eye, it looks like I'm looking through a red balloon. Y'all, my heart stopped. I said, what? I said, I'm calling right now. I called the doctor's office, and they got us in. They said, come right now. And of course, everybody was like, weren't y'all just here? Because the day before, we were there for hours and hours and hours. And sure enough, his retina detached. And get him in emergency surgery. Of course, they couldn't get him in. They didn't know when they were going to be able to get him in. So, and that day we were there for hours and hours because they had to work us in. And he had to have this test done and that test done. And when I say that we were exhausted, I mean we were exhausted in every sense of the word. So we leave the doctor's office, and as soon as we walk in the door, my phone rings, and it is one of the doctors that had been working with us that day that said that he was able to get an anesthesiologist. He was able to get everybody that he could to come in earlier than they normally do surgery just to do Justin's surgery. So we had to be back in Oklahoma City by 5:30 that morning, and they were doing Justin's surgery at 6. So they do his surgery, and they did what they could. They got it all back up. So yes, my son has my vision problems. So he's looking up to me to help him through it, because I've been through it, and at that point in time, I was not functioning. I was not the best role model that I could be, and I just didn't feel it, and I tried my best, but it was so hard. It was so hard, and I felt so bad for him. Now thinking back at it, I was not good for him. I was not at all, and I think he understands that now, but I feel horrible as a mom. Then I don't know if I've ever said that to him, and I probably should now, but anyway, so yes, my son has my vision problems. Maybe I can get him to do a short video so that he can talk about his and what he went through. Oh, we'll see. So we go through that. School starts, and we're trying to figure out, because at the time we did not live in the district that the school that our kids went to, so, and I still was not doing good at all. So we decided to move. Well, Travis ended up staying in the city with some friends of ours to help save money, and the boys and I ended up moving in with Travis's parents through the week. And when Travis came home on the weekends, we all went to our house. We were doing the best that we could try to figure out. I was angry at God. I was angry with everybody. So there was this one day, we were at home, we were at our house. Justin comes in, crawls up in the bed with me, and I don't know if he remembers this, but he says, "Mom, if this is how I'm gonna turn out, then I don't know if this is what I want for me." He said, "This just sucks." And I felt my heart I felt it crack. And all I could do was just grab him and hug him, and we just laid there for a little while, and he got up and went to go play. And the next morning is when I woke up and there's gotta be more. There's gotta be something more that I can do. What is it? There's a reason I'm this way. What is that reason? And that's when I started making the phone calls. That's whenever I learned about Louisiana Center for the Blind. And that's when I didn't even think about it. I didn't even really talk to my husband about it. I just said, "Sign me up, we're doing it." So a couple months later, I'm in Louisiana Center for the Blind. And I was excited, but I was also scared, because I had to leave my family, and they were my rock, they were what was getting me through. Well, that needs to go away, but they were the ones that was getting me through everything. Because it felt like I was just being held together by tape and glue, and they were the ones that kept gluing and taping me back together. And it was just, I don't know. So we packed everything up. Travis and the boys took me down to Ruston, Louisiana. They helped me set up the apartment that they supplied me with. Um, they spent the weekend, and come Monday morning, I was hitting the ground running. The scary part was to become an independent blind person and graduate from the Louisiana Center of the Blind. They drop you off in Ruston. They do not tell you where you are, and you have to find your way back. Crossing interstates. I said, what? Ooh, freaked me out. But the more I started going to the school, the more I started understanding things, the more I started doing the little travel routes that they had me do. They worked with me on north, east, south, and west, and how everything was set out, how to tell where the sun was, and how to know where everything was that way with the sun. That's how they taught you everything. Oh, and the big kicker is that your instructors at Louisiana Center for the Blind, they're blind. Yep, they are blind too. I said, huh? But it makes more sense if you think about it, to have a blind person teaching you, because they've been through it, they've done it, they had to learn too. So I learned Braille, which Braille is really hard. It really is. I have a hard time with Braille. I don't use it as much as I should. I should practice it more than what I do, but I don't. Maybe these videos will help me get back into doing it more than what I do, because I'll be showing you guys, some of the stuff of it too, so maybe it'll make me have to do it. So I'm down there. I was there for maybe 3 or 4 months, and my confidence was building. I was making a lot of friends. They were going through the same thing that I was going through, and it felt so good. I was missing my family. Now let me tell you, there was days that I called Travis and I said, I'm leaving, I'm packing, you're coming to get me. And of course he said, nope, I'm not. And I would just start crying, because you have those days where you break down and but that's everybody. Everybody has days like that. But I was about 3 or 4 months into my training, and there was a break coming up at the center, and I didn't tell Travis and the boys, but we had already had plans to go to NASCAR, and I had already planned it out at the center, but there was already a break, but Travis didn't know this. So his best friends and my best friends, she and her husband helped buy bus tickets for me to surprise Travis and the boys. So this is the first time being blind that I did this. I took a bus with transfers from Ruston, Louisiana to Lawton, Oklahoma by myself to surprise my husband and kids for us to go to NASCAR. And boy, did I surprise them. There's pictures on my Facebook, and I surprised them big time. And I wasn't scared, because I knew I could do it, because everything else that I had been learning, and I had the skills to do it, and I knew that I could do it. So I did it. And we had so much fun. Had a blast. 8 months later, I was getting ready to graduate. I think it was in September. Yeah, September. Anyway, September I graduated from blind school, and I was an independent blind woman. and it was the greatest feeling in the world. And I still didn't know my purpose, and I don't even know if I know what my purpose is now, but I feel better. I feel complete now. All these years walking around with one eye, trying to be sighted, I never felt complete because I kept trying and trying and trying. Even though I had bad vision in my right eye, I should have had this training a long, long time ago, and I really wished I would have, because those techniques would have helped me with the vision problems that I had. And I know that now, but you can't go back and change those things, even though I wished I could have. But I feel more complete as a blind person than I ever did as a sighted person. Yes, I miss being able to drive. I miss being able to jump in the car and just drive and listen to the music and da 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 da. But I know so much more about myself. I know how strong I am. I know what I can and cannot handle. I still have, yes, I have depression and anxiety. And some days are worse than others, but I pull through it. And I do my best. But we all do that. We all have stuff that we go through. And these videos are not for anybody to feel sorry for me. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. That's not what that's not what this is about. That's not my intention. My intention is to show and educate and grow awareness and have people understand that just because you're blind does not mean that your life is over, or that, oh no, she's blind, we have to do all of this for her. No, it's okay. I appreciate your help and I thank you for it, but I don't have to have your help. I can do it too. I can still be a part of all of this, but anyways, I jumped ahead of myself. So I graduated from blind school, came home. The search for a job was on. So I started applying. I don't even remember how many places I interviewed at. Nothing ever panned out. Of course, no one ever said it was because you're blind. Nobody ever said that. It was always, oh, we went a different direction, or we filled that position, or, you know, things like that. I think it was about 7 months after I graduated that I went to a job fair at Cameron University. Oh, at the university here in town. And I gave my resume to everybody. I went from booth to booth to booth to booth. Just gave my resume to everybody. And there was a gentleman at a booth that I talked to for quite a while. And it was First Command Financial. And it fell right into in the area of banking that I love. I love banking. So I thought, oh, this would be great. And we talked for a while, and I mean a long while. And I thought, oh, this would be great. And I came home and I told Travis all about it. The next day, I got a phone call from the recruiter. I started doing the whole process, and then he called me and said, would you come in for an interview with me? So I did, and I was getting so excited. And he gave me a contract to sign, and I mean, it was going, and I was loving it. And I get a phone call, and he said he had talked to his boss, and his boss had concerns about hiring me, thinking that I wouldn't be able to do the job because I was blind. But he wanted me to be a part of his team, so he created a job for me, which was, he was contracting me, paid out of his pocket. So he created this job, which was a client contact specialist, working for him. And I'm grateful, I'm thankful and blessed that he did that. I ended up working for him for 3 years. And what I did for him was, he would send me tasks through the First Command database of what he wanted me to do with each. He would send me the person's name, which was attached to that file, and what he wanted me to do, whether it was calling them. He told me what it was that it concerned, and making the appointment, things of that nature. And then I ran his calendar through Outlook. And my computer talks to me, and that's going to be another video that I'm going to show you guys about all of that, how all of that works. So I worked with him for 3 years, and I enjoyed it. It's not what I wanted. I wanted more. I didn't make very much. I wanted more out of my life. So my job with him ended in December of last year. I thought that I had found my dream job, working with another blind girl. It was another contract job through an adult day center here in town. I was so excited. I had lesson plans made up. But she never it was so hard to get her to put forth the effort. It really was. She talked about everything that she wanted to do, what her goals were, but it was so hard to get her to put forth the effort, and made up stories and excuses after excuses of why she couldn't do this. And after about 3 to 4 hours a day working with her, it was like she was done. So that just did not work out. So I have been trying to find a job since before December, because I knew that job was coming to an end. And I cannot find a job. I cannot get anyone to hire me. And as of last week, I have applied to 73 different jobs. And I've gone as far as applying to restaurants, dishwashers, things of that nature, because I want a job. Not only do I want a job, we need me to be working. You can't raise a family and have a life if it's not a 2-income household anymore. It's horrible. I mean, I don't even have words to talk about that. I hope everybody understands, but I need a job. So basically that's my story, and that's how I ended up blind, and that's how I am the way that I am. Well, not my weirdness, but that's how I'm blind. And I didn't even get through much of this laundry, but I tried. And I hope you guys enjoyed the story. If you like my channel, please click the red subscribe button. And I will see you next time. Bye!